Hi everyone. Today we're joined by Till Boadella, who is an entrepreneur, marketing expert, and world traveler. So welcome,
Hey
Till, and
guys,
thank you very much for giving us your time today.
thanks for having me. Thanks for the opportunity.
So today we'll be discussing how to create a lifestyle of freedom to live where you want, and also a lifestyle of travel to be able to travel around to different places around the world and live there if you want, or just have the resources and the possibility to travel if you would like to. So, Till, first up, can you give us a quick background about what you do sort of day to day, or like what's the average week look like for Till Bordella?
Well, usually I get up pretty late. So something I always hated about school and having a normal job is like having those fixed times where I have to get up like at 6 in the morning and go to bed at 10 because my natural rhythm is just different. So I usually get up around 9, 10 in the morning. I have some food. I eat paleo. I'm a big fan of dieting. Um, sometimes some meditation in the morning, have a shower, and after that, usually I do something that I like to call eating the frog. Actually, something I learned from Brian Tracy, where
Yeah.
you focus on the task that you dislike most, the task that you have the most procrastination towards. I try to do as much of that as possible in the morning. So I have like the weird stuff out of the way as early as possible, and then it kind of frees up the space for doing other stuff, that's a bit more enjoyable.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I actually, like 2 days ago, I recorded a book review about Eat That Frog.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so handy in terms of quick read and just really to the point tips that you can implement straight away.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's just the simple truth that, fear and negative emotions grow as you avoid them. So if you feel resistance towards doing something, or you're a bit scared or something like that, the more you avoid it, the more you resist it, the more the fear and the negative emotions and the worry will grow. So if you just do it, you like expose yourself to that resistance, it'll just be gone,
Mm.
and next time you'll have it less. So it's a really cool trick. I also have a little success journal which I write always in the evening. So I write down a list of tasks for the next day. So sometimes I take a look at that, like what did I write down yesterday? What type of tasks do I want to get done today? Um, but if I have a lot of stuff to do, some really important stuff, I'll also work in focus blocks. So I'll have like a timer. I'll set like 50 minutes or something like that. I'll work really focused on this task. Then I'll take a 10-minute break, and then I'll get back to the next task. I just have my laptop, little MacBook here, podcasting microphone, video camera. That's pretty much my office.
Yeah.
So I can also do this while traveling, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the criterias for me, that I can have certain habits that are location independent. So if I'm in Portugal or in Brazil or in the US, I can still wake up, eat paleo. I can still wake up, eat the frog,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't depend on where I am. I can still wake up, focus on these focus blocks throughout the day. I can still have my success journal on my laptop. So I want all my habits that I have every day to be pretty much, location independent, so I can execute them wherever I am. Because I don't know about you, but I think when you travel, one big challenge is to keep up those productivity habits, right? Because it's
Yeah.
so tempting to get distracted. You wake up in a new environment, you have all these opportunities, you have new people you can meet, you have all these different schedules interfering with your schedule, and it's very easy to get sucked into that. And before you know what's happening is like all your habits are crumbling. So that's one challenge, or one important thing that I noticed from traveling a lot, that you got to protect your habits like crazy. And if you don't do that, the whole online lifestyle, internet lifestyle, travel lifestyle will be over pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I'm also a big fan of habits, and I've noticed that habits and having a daily ritual or morning ritual is so key to your success because it enables you to really have a schedule for progression instead of just trying to do something here or trying to do something there and maybe it gets done or maybe it gets doesn't. If you can have a schedule that you can stick to and you write stuff down, then you achieve a lot more a lot faster. It's very important for people to plan out their routines so then when they are traveling they know that they have a planned routine, so when things start to get messed up they know exactly what they have to do instead of just being sort of a leaf in the wind type thing.
Exactly. What are do you have some habits that you like protect when you travel, or how do you handle this?
Yeah, I mean, like I get up, first thing I do is drink some water, and then I do some light stretches, and then I do like some reading and look at my goals for the day, which I've written down the night before of what I want to achieve. And then I usually go out and try and do maybe like a half-hour walk around the neighborhood and also listen to an audiobook at the same time, and then come back and then have a bigger breakfast and sort of go from there. And it's a bit of a long process, but usually I wake up early and it's just a really solid base to start the day out. So after I've had that morning routine, I'm very set up for the day.
So you have a really pretty big morning ritual, right? But I think it's like you got to set yourself up for success, right? If you just wake up and you start reacting to the world, you wake up and immediately you go to Facebook and you check your Facebook messages, or immediately you check your emails and you try to respond to the world instead of being proactive, you will follow the rhythm of the world. Like the world will dictate your day, and that's like a death trap for entrepreneurship.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely for people who want to create their lifestyle and their dream day of what they want to be living, they have to be able to create their rituals and like their routines proactively. And so it's a really good way to baby step having a dream lifestyle is to develop these habits so that you can stick to something and you can create something yourself instead of having someone else tell you what to do, because it's definitely a very key skill to be able to create something, and you need to develop that if you want to achieve the lifestyle of traveling around the world and maybe having a business that is location independent, so you can travel around and you can live wherever you want. It's very important to have these skills that you need to develop over time. And so at the moment you are an entrepreneur who is fully funded through your businesses.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so for people who might want to do the same type of thing and make money while they're living on the road permanently and working on the road, what are some tips that you would suggest for people who are just starting out and they want to develop that lifestyle, but they're not quite sure how to begin?
One thing I always tell people is, if you live in a country that's very expensive, it's not a good place to start your business. So for me, for example, Switzerland, it's one of the most expensive places in the world. Like minimum wage here is $3,000 Swiss francs a month. So, and the thing about the internet is you're by definition international. The internet is an international thing. So if you have an internet business, you have an international business. So if you live in, I don't know, some expensive in Sweden or some place that's pretty expensive as well, you have to create enough money to be able to live with that standard. And that can be a problem for your business because you have to make more money to be able to be free. So one tip I can give to people is, and a lot of people are doing this successfully, go to some other place in the world, maybe Eastern Europe or Asia, or some place where you can work from your laptop, build your business, and maybe live just off, $1,000 a month, or maybe even less, where you can build the foundation for your business and you don't have to pay the same life costs as you would pay in one of those really expensive places, right? If you have a laptop business, you're free, and you just have to make that step in your mind that you're really free, because oftentimes we have a lot of conditioning that keeps us back in the place we grew up. We have our parents, we have friends, and everyone is kind of not prepared for this type of lifestyle. So we have a lot of anchors pulling us back. So it's really important to proactively make turn that switch in our mind that, oh wow, I can live anywhere I want. Like this digital nomad thing, it can be real for me. All I have to do is take that leap of faith. Pretty much my only means of production are a laptop, maybe mic, maybe a video camera, and with that and the internet, you have a means of production, and you can live pretty much anywhere you want. And I see this, a lot of people are doing this, living in Budapest right now, right? Building their businesses there, and it's a pretty cool thing. People setting up their offices there. A lot of SSM people are doing this right now.
Yeah.
So that's a cool way, to kickstart your business and kind of fight your way through that dry spell time where it's hard to really get those fast results.
Like this digital nomad lifestyle is very new, because all of the, like the widespread broadband and the different tools that enable you to create a business online and work online, they're all relatively new. So a lot of people don't have many references to other people that are living like this. So that's why usually there's a lot of pushback when it comes to your friends and family and parents and stuff, because they've never seen that before, and they don't know anyone who's successfully doing that. They're a little bit cautious about this idea, but it's progressed so rapidly, and you can publish your own content, and you can work online, and you can do all these things very, very cheaply, where in the past, to start a business, you would have needed like a lot of capital and a lot of like infrastructure and stuff to especially to start. So it was a lot more of a big deal, where now like there's just cheap travel options all over the place, really cheap flights, train tickets, Airbnb. There's so many different options to work on the road and to travel cheaply on the road, that it's just going to become more and more commonplace for people to be really global in terms of where they live or where they work, as opposed to the past.
Yeah, and it's important to understand that the internet is a means of production. That's something I learned from Seth Godin. In the past, if you wanted to be a capitalist, if you wanted to be a business owner, as you said, you needed capital, and more importantly, you needed means of production. And in the past, means of production meant you need to own factories, you need to own machines, you need to own buildings, and all of that. So that's why very few people were able to be entrepreneurs in that sense, and business owners, right? Yeah. That's what Adam Smith and Marx and all those people talked about this. Marx said it's unjust. Adam Smith thought it's awesome. But the whole point is, since the internet, we all have a means of production available to us. If you have, $1,000 to spend on a laptop and you have an internet connection, you have the same means of production like Google, like Amazon, the internet is equal. There's no other person that has more benefits from the internet than you. They might have additional means of production. They might own buildings, they might have capital and all of that. But the internet in itself, it's equal. Everyone has the same access, everyone has the same tool. So this gives everyone an equal means of production. And this whole idea is pretty new. And I oftentimes feel like a lot of people, they don't realize like the gold treasure they have in front of them. They think it's just some gadget, some device. In reality, it's a means of production, and if only people learn to use this means of production in the economy we live in, I believe a lot of things in the world would change, and people would have a lot more control over their lives and what they do. We would have more entrepreneurs, you know, more tribes, more leaders, more entrepreneurs in a wide variety of categories. And yeah, I believe that's going to happen in the future. I believe people will have to adapt, but it's happening so slowly because people are stuck in this old comfort zone of having a job, having a boss, you know, having this 9 to 5 structure where you're told what you have to do. You show up, you do a mediocre job, and you get paid. And I believe those times are over. So, you know, for anyone watching this, you know, take that leap of faith and learn to use the internet and technology in a productive way that makes you valuable, that makes you indispensable in other people's lives. And that's really a great asset.
Yeah, because it's changing so rapidly. Like I always hear statistics like people that are going through university, by the time they've reached their 4th year, the stuff they've learned in their 1st year is going to be irrelevant because the information about any certain topic is just changing so fast that you need to stay, you know, really up to date. And to be able to, like, one thing with entrepreneurs is they learn a lot of different skills and assets in developing themselves that they can use to make money in the future with, and they can use to find different jobs and create different jobs. Instead of in the past, if you're stuck in one job and then you're put into one role, then your skill set is very limited. So if you lose that one role or one job, then you know you've got to try and find another one with the exact same role. Otherwise, you've got to learn skills from scratch to work somewhere else. So yeah, I find it very, you know, fragile, that type of working structure, because you just don't have any maneuverability to change if you wanted to, and it's not in your control either. So you know, it's up to your boss if you get fired or not. And as an entrepreneur, you can always create more jobs, which just gives you a lot more power in terms of creating your dream lifestyle.
I think a nice way to look at it is to think of yourself as being indispensable, right? If you're indispensable, you will always be able to make money, because you will always be the person creating value in other people's lives in one way or another. And it doesn't matter if you're in this job or this market or that market. If you understand this concept of being indispensable with the value that you're creating, then you will always have enough money, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And so as you were developing yourself as an entrepreneur and creating this business and this travel lifestyle, you must have had like a lot of fears that you've had to get past in terms of your development and achieving this lifestyle. Could you name a few of those fears and maybe how you would suggest people to get past those fears if they have the same fears while they're developing their lifestyle?
Well, there's so many fears involved, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy, you know. I had to overcome a lot of fears myself, all sorts of fears. I believe that's also, you know, one important trait of entrepreneurs. I guess one fear is the fear of failure, obviously, you know, and also plays into the fear of rejection, like what you're doing, the possibility of getting negative feedback, negative evaluations for what you're doing. So I believe as an entrepreneur, you're a bit like an artist and you're creating stuff for the world, but the world can decide if they like it or not. So, and that's a fear, like, that I guess everyone will have to face, because if you create a software, if you create a blog, if you create videos, if you create some service or some product, and it doesn't work out the way that you believe, it can be like an attack to your ego. It feels like you got rejected. You can personalize it sometimes. So it can be a bitter pill to swallow sometimes to deal with rejection, record videos online. Let's say you bring up all your courage and you record a YouTube video and you get 3 dislikes. For someone just starting out, that can be quite intense, like, why did 3 people just dislike my video? I put in all this energy, all this effort, and all this courage to step in front of camera, and now people are like telling me to fuck off in a nice way on the internet,
Yeah.
and that's a huge one, I guess, for business. Also, scaling your thinking, that's an important one, because oftentimes our environment and our conditioning and our fears dictate our thinking, or we have like a certain way of thinking. For example, I'm a person that's allowed to make $1,000 a month, or $2,000 a month, and that's also a form of fear. So you also have to be aware that fears sometimes come in disguise. Sometimes certain feelings we have that are holding us back, they're fueled by fear, but it's not obvious. It's not obvious to us, right? We have these very subtle negative thinking patterns that are keeping us back, that are keeping our income low. And one way of thinking of it is like scaling your thinking. Like, think 10x more, or set your goals 10x higher than what you initially had the impulse for,
Yeah,
right?
because like it makes the problem that much smaller. So if a problem arises and you just have a small mindset of thinking, then that's like really a big deal. But if you're thinking, I want to achieve this big goal in the future, and then this little problem comes up, it's a lot smaller in comparison to where you want to be. So you don't take it as personally as you would as if you were only looking one step ahead. And so, yeah, that's definitely a great tip in terms of just like zooming out and looking at things at more of a big picture level when it comes to where you want to try and achieve to, can help take some of the sting out of the smaller, failures or things that didn't quite go as expected. And one other tip that I would say for people who are scared of just starting out and creating something, so say like a video, and they put it online and they want to make it perfect, and then they get a negative response to it, I would say create a lot more content. So whether it's videos, whether it's blog posts, whatever you're doing, you should do a lot of it, especially at the beginning, because then you can correct very quickly. So instead of spending 20 hours on one video and putting it out, you've got so much invested in that video, and if it gets negative feedback, it'll affect you dramatically because you've just put so much into it. But if you do more videos, then you can go, okay, this isn't working, I'm getting bad responses, I'll do something else, and then you can see how that goes. And then you can constantly tweak your content or your videos to be what people like to watch or be what people like to read. And a lot of people think that failure is a negative thing, but the more I see people become successful and become successful myself, I see that failure is the road to success instead of obstacles on the road to success. So you're going to have these different failures, and people should stop viewing them as such a negative thing and view them as, feedback of how you can improve and how you can get to your end goal faster, because you're knowing what you have to change earlier.
I have this concept that I like to call speed of implementation in entrepreneurship, which is the idea that you want to fail as fast as possible. So a lot of people, they have an idea, I want to create a blog. I want to make money from this blog. And they fantasize so long about how this will go and how they will do everything and all of that. So they sit down and they create this vision in their mind, but they never really take action. It takes them months before they even take action. For me, when I have a new idea, Like the moment I have the idea, it's already done. Like if I would have an idea right now during this interview, after the interview, I would immediately do that or start it at least.
Yeah.
So the moment you have an idea, you gotta implement like immediately. You know, it's like, yeah, the moment you have the thought, it's already done. And if you adopt this mindset as an entrepreneur, your speed of implementation will increase so much that you will be able to take action so fast and see what works so fast that you can move so much faster, right?
Yeah.
And one problem most people I see with a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs is, again, they wait so long to take action. They're like turtles, you know, moving so slowly, and the economy we live in is so fast. This concept of speed of implementation is really important, I believe. And it plays also into this idea of failing, you know, you want to fail really fast. So you find those 1% segments of marketing and business that work for you, and then you focus on them, you magnify them, and you find the other 1%.
For just one quick tip for the end here, maybe give your top 3 countries that you would suggest for people who want to build a entrepreneur lifestyle in a cheaper country where they don't have to, where the cost of living is lower, but it's still got all of the necessary, like, you know, internet and things like that to be able to build your online business.
I'd probably go to Eastern Europe, someplace there, you know, maybe Poland.
Yeah.
I was in Poland for a while, really cheap. You have good internet. You can have like apartments really cheap. So that's cool. You know, you can work there. I have a friend who does that. I like Greece a lot. I was in the Greek islands for a month building my business in winter. So the cool thing was there were no tourists, no distraction. It was basically I was on roads. I had no tourists. I just had local people. I had a little studio for myself there. Beautiful view. Sometimes I would just, you know, chill at the bay, just meditate a bit at, you know, observing the ocean and or hiking a little bit to relax. And then I would go back to my studio. I would work every once in a while. I would take a break, go outside to my terrace and look at the amazing view and just be blown away and just like feel this vibe, you know, feel this energy of the environment and like kind of soak it up.
Yeah.
And then get back to work. And it connected me with the reason why I was doing what I was doing. So if you can choose a place that inspires you, in Greece, everyone's super positive, you know, everyone's super happy. They don't care. I mean, they do care about the recession and the crisis, but the way they communicate to you, it's like they're super friendly. You know, the environment is so inspiring and everything. So if you can pick a place that really inspires you to work and is cheap, I mean, that's the jackpot, because it re-energizes you. It instantly connects you with your purpose, with your why. You know, if freedom and then traveling is one of the reasons you want to get into business, if you just have to step outside of your door and you're blown away by what you're seeing, that will energize you and that flows back into your business. Third place is Portugal. My girlfriend lives in Portugal. I really learned to love Portugal. Food is amazing. Some of the best food I've ever had is in Portugal. It's very cheap. If you make $1,000 a month, you're considered a rich person in Portugal, or, you know, on the richer side.
Yeah.
So you can survive on little money. You'll have the standard of living is not very high there, and it's still a fully functioning European country, right?
Yeah.
So you still get all the benefits of European country, and you can live pretty cheap, and you have the ocean, you know, you have beaches everywhere. It's pretty warm. You can go surfing if you want. Awesome place to work. Yeah, that's my top 3 places.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Till, for all of this great information and for you know, spending the time to give us this interview. If people wanted to find out more about you or get in contact with you, where is the best place that they can find that information?
if you want to get more information, you can go to uncovermarketing.com. That's my blog. Or you can go to tilboadella.com, and you'll find all the information you need, and then marketing tips and videos, all of that sort of stuff you can find there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll put all of these links below this video so people can have easy access to that. And if anyone needs to find out more information about me, my YouTube channel is Perlin Earth, and most of my content is on that. Or you can contact me on Facebook at Facebook/Perlin's Adventure Blog. All right. Thank you very much, Till. This was a great discussion, and
Awesome.
I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Cool. Vice versa. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.